Who could that be at this hour? Thanks. Hey, welcome back to the Onion Creature Book Club. Previous times we've talked about some of the previous volumes of the Kirby Manga Mania. We had Volume 1, Volume 2, and guess what? It's the end of the trilogy. We're finally at Kirby Manga Mania Volume 3. It's been a long, arduous journey, but here we are. Without further ado, we will get into it. We're going to break down some of the chapters yet again of the Kirby Manga Mania. Chapter 1, The Way of Laughs. This is a chapter about professionalism in comedy. It's a deconstruction of humor. Off to a good start. Chapter 2, Not Quite Right, A Kirby Blast from the Past. Kirby's back. In this chapter, Kirby has inexplicably transformed into his original appearance from Kirby's Dream Land, released on the Game Boy in 1992. This apparently happened because Kirby had been playing Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy, and as such, his appearance altered to that original one. To remedy the situation, because apparently his eyes aren't big enough for manga, Kirby plays Kirby Star Allies on the Nintendo Switch, and then performs into the modern Kirby appearance. Kirby then reads some Kirby manga and transforms into his manga appearance. Isn't that nice? This is where we get a Kirby's Dream sidebar from the author, which explains the reason why Kirby was a major character in the manga, and that's because the artist was inspired by the strategy guide for Kirby's Adventure, which features that character. I actually really like this artwork. I don't think I've ever seen this before. It's a black and white image, but it's really nice. It looks sort of clay-like. Chapter 3, King Dedede's Hobby Hunt. In this chapter, King Dedede realizes that he doesn't have any hobbies and wishes to remedy the situation. In the end, Kirby and King Dedede realize that both of their hobbies is getting in friendly battles with each other. That's the resolution. Up next, we got King Dedede in his own chapter. Go get him, King Dedede, Musclehead Mania. It's a new series. This is a little fun Dedede takeover of the manga, where Dedede decides it's his time for the spotlight. The rest of the chapter is made up of the other Kirby manga characters getting their own chapter of a manga. We got Miracle Poppy back with a bang, exploding in popularity. We got Masked Swordsman Meta Knight, The Legend Begins, the new series everyone's talking about. And then they tease the Waddle Dee chapter that maybe will exist one day. In a horrific twist of fate, these Waddle Dees, some of them have mouths, and I don't like that. That's non-canon. Gonna stamp a non-canon stamp on that one. Don't do that. It's not allowed. Chapter 5, Budding Ego, Everyone's Idol, Kirby. In this chapter, Kirby is talking about how he is an idol to the masses. We got some more non-canon nonsense in here. It says, "My name is Kirby. I come from planet Apple Heart," and it shows that planet in the background. I don't know what this is. Where'd that come from? Who sanctioned this? Horrifyingly enough, in this chapter, Kirby vores the reader, which is not something we like to see. Chapter 6, Waddle Dee's Woes. In this chapter, a Waddle Dee tries to make a name for itself, tries all manners of self-betterment in order to become more distinct in the world. In the end, the Waddle Dee realizes that he can become unique by consuming much food and becoming morbidly obese, but he realizes that there's already a big Waddle Dee enemy that exists, so even that wasn't enough. Chapter 7, Everyone and His Friends and Star Allies. This is a Star Allies inspired chapter in which the manga creator sort of parodies some of the mechanics present in Star Allies. That's a nice one. Chapter 8, Get Your Grumbles Out. And you could fill in the bubble with something you want to shout. I'm not going to do that, but you could. This chapter, the author comments, was inspired by the piece of merchandise in which Kirby looks like he's eating your head, and you sleep in his head as a pillow, and this looks like he's eating you. The Poppy Brothers Jr. from the manga, who is Dedede's assistant, he's feeling a bit mad, and Kirby says, "Hey, stick your head in my mouth, and you can shout, and it'll all go into the void space that exists therein." So that the other Kirby characters realize that that's a neat idea, so they stick their heads in his mouth and shout their woes. Apparently, Kirby belches up all these complaints that have piled up. He says horrible things that offend many. Chapter 9, Scorching Summer Battle, Kirby versus Burning Leo. In this portion of the manga, it is very hot. Burning Leo shows up and he wants everyone to, like, train or something. And so everyone's having a pretty bad time with that. So Kirby inhales Burning Leo and gets the fire ability, but then the Burning Leo and Kirby just end up competing with each other to become more epic. And the chapter ends with all of Kirby's pals being roasted alive. They're all dead now. Chapter 10, Kirby beats the Bad Lord with ninja skills. Here we have Kirby with the ninja ability. We also see Bonkers without a hat, which is a truly demented sight. So Kirby and his team of ninjas go to defeat the Lord DDD, who's up to no good. And the chapter ends with Kirby detonating several explosives inside the castle, causing it to crumble. Seems to be a recurring theme. Here we have Kirby's Dream Sidebar Part 2, and here we see a work in progress from one of the final pages of the first Manga Mania volume. That's nice to get, like seeing these early sketches. Chapter 11, Sleepover at King DDD's. Kirby and gang are just hanging out, chilling, having a great time, and there is a storm, and so they are stuck at King DDD's and have a sleepover there. As it soon becomes clear to the king, it is very difficult to sleep under such conditions, and he has a truly miserable time attempting to do so. Chapter 12, lots of King DDD's. This chapter features Adeline. So Adeline is drawing portraits of King DDD. As we soon discover, these portraits all come to life and have achieved sentience, and so they run amok, go around town, and interact with all the different characters. As it turns out, these paintings are actually more pleasant to be around than the actual king, which causes controversy. Adeline then draws a bunch of Kirbys to deal with these King DDDs, because they will need to go back in the painting, and they're just not gonna do that. So she draws some Kirbys, and you know, then the issue is there's a bunch of Kirbys running around. This chapter has a stick figure King DDD, which is that's pretty funny. Chapter 13, Breaking a Guinness Record with Disposable Chopsticks. This chapter is about the fairly obscure enemy, Korori, who's this little penguin with a beanie. Pretty great character, not super well recognized. And basically this guy shows up, he's like, hey, there's a Guinness record is about to be broken. People are speculating what that might be. Turns out it's Korori. He's very good at separating chopsticks from each other. If you have any experience with chopsticks whatsoever, the disposable ones, the wooden ones, you know that breaking them apart cleanly, you know, could be a bit of a challenge. But the pressure mounts as the final chopstick break comes closer, and what ends up happening is Kirby sneezes at the last second and messes up the poor penguin, and you know, it's a real shame. The manga ends with the note from the author, which states that they're going to be releasing more volumes, and that's pretty neat. We're getting more of these, it sounds like, based on this. Wow, I finally did it. I talked about the 3 volumes of Kirby Manga Mania. They're all discussed. So it seems like volume 4 is a thing, maybe, based on what I read at the end of this. Who knows, maybe I'll talk about that when it comes out. And, you know, more Kirby videos in the upcoming year. Of course, we have the new game coming out, so I'll be sure to discuss that, because it's of great interest. You know, Kirby in the Forgotten Land. It's just the first 3D Kirby game, nothing major. That's good. Bye.